In 2024, the Lord has been speaking, honey. He been saying stuff, and I've been trying my best to listen and to obey. I've been able to clearly know, okay, like this is God. And when I tell you, the Lord is relentless. Like when He wants you to do something, when He wants you to hear something, He is relentless. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Claire. I am a 29-year-old all-around creative, I guess you could say. I am an educator. I am a Christian who is on a renewed faith journey. I think that's the best way I can put it. I'm starting this channel just because I am, I guess, ready to start doing my part for the kingdom and sharing the gospel, bringing more people to God, and just sharing my journey of what it's been like to be on this renewal, to have renewed faith, to just be on this journey. So hopefully somebody who is going through the same thing is going to find this video and the series of videos that I will eventually post helpful. I grew up in church, been in church my entire life. Like my earliest memory of church is being like 6 or 7 years old and walking to church and sitting next to my mom at church. I remember children's church. I remember falling asleep on my mom when I did stay in like the bigger service with her. That's my earliest memory of church. I know that I've been in church my whole life. I've been baptized. I sang in choirs. I danced and I did praise dancing. Helped in children's choir, children's church. I've done a lot of ministries within the church right up until I left church about 6 years ago. But I could say that even though I left 6 years ago, experiencing what I'm experiencing now with this renewal, I guess, of faith, I definitely feel like I don't know what I was doing all these years. Like I was doing all these things. I was in ministry, but I don't know that my heart was always 100% in it. And I don't think I've ever experienced anything like I am experiencing now in regards to my faith. Yeah, so renewal. What does that mean? How did this start? What was happening? Over the last 6 years of not being in the church, coming from attending church every single Sunday, being in different ministries, and to everything coming to a complete halt of no longer going to church, not serving in any ministries, not really like reading my Bible, praying, but not like praying every single day type of praying, but just like praying when I can and when I remember, to basically I feel like complete, well, I can't say complete transformation because I'm not done transforming yet, but to a big transformation. Um it's definitely been it's been a journey, and I feel like this randomly all started. It randomly started about a year ago when I felt like God was speaking to me. And in the moment, I didn't really realize and know that God was speaking to me because that's never happened to me before. So I definitely was just thinking, oh, this is just my thoughts. This is just what I'm feeling. And I kind of took that and just like ran with it. And for a while, that's what I just thought it was. I didn't know that it was God speaking to me until I guess after the fact. So the first thing that I felt like God ever told me to do was leave my job, to quit my job. I was a teacher. I had been a teacher for 4 years. And although there were so many different things about the profession that I felt like, were hard, or me wanting to leave and explore other things, I didn't really think that that was the time. I always wanted to do at least 5 years when I left teaching, I always wanted it to be whatever I do to still be like within the school. So I might leave the classroom, but I wasn't going to be leaving like my school or my district. And so when I kept feeling this overwhelming urge to leave, I was like, what is this? I think for so long, I was just like ignoring the feeling and ignoring oh, it's time to leave. Like, you need to stop. You need to go. Um, and I think, I don't even know when I really fully realized that it was God, but I think over the course of the things that happen, I definitely was like, oh, this might be God. This might be him a little bit. But in the beginning, I think I was definitely reluctant. I was reluctant to quit. That was number one. And I was reluctant to believe that it was God telling me to quit. That was number two. So once I did kind of realize, okay, I think God is pointing me in a direction to quit, to leave, I started praying about it. And I feel like this was my first time, literally in years, significantly praying for something, um, asking God to show me a sign. And I remember, like, my best friend told me, like, you can't ask God to be like, God, if this is you, show me a white car or show me this. But I did it anyway. I was like, God, if this is for real, you talking, telling me to leave my job, then I'm going to be out with my friends this weekend. Have somebody say these words to me. And it's so funny now that I can't even remember the exact words. Um, but it was like a short phrase. It was something simple, something that like wouldn't normally just come up in conversation. And I remember being at brunch the next day, and we're just talking, vibing, all that good stuff. And one of the girls says it to me, and I was like, God, is that you? Like, wait a minute. Um, and I just started laughing. Like, I was laughing so much. And then I ended up telling them what was happening, how I felt like God was speaking to me. God was telling me to quit my job. And it was just so funny to me. I feel like for months, all I could do was laugh at the different situations that were like arising and coming up for me, just laughing. And so I was just laughing. I was telling them about it. And I definitely took that as my sign. And what was it, like 2 weeks later, I decided to resign from my job. But even within those 2 weeks, and even when I was resigning, like I was trying to look for jobs, but nothing was really calling out to me. Everything that I felt like, oh my gosh, this would be perfect. I could do this. God was like, no, no. And so I didn't apply for a single job. I resigned with no plan, but because I also felt like, oh, I left that part out. I felt like not only God was calling me to resign, he was calling me to work in my business. I've had a business for, since 2021 that I kind of, was on and off with, not really consistent with. And so I felt like he was calling me to work in my business, but at that time, I really hadn't done much with my business for about a year. And so I wasn't making any money from my business, and I had no idea how I was going to make money from the business. I didn't really have it. I can't even say a solid plan. I didn't have a plan at all. I had no plan. I had no, like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do if I fail. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. This is exactly how I'm gonna do it. Like, no, I had no plan. But yet, your girl still turned in her resignation letter. And even then, I think, like, definitely the people close to me knew why I did it. Like, oh, God is telling me to quit my job. God is telling me to do this. But I couldn't even say it out loud. I could barely say it out loud to myself, let alone say it out loud to other people. So it was just like, oh, why are you deciding to leave? I thought you loved teaching. You just said you love teaching. You could see yourself doing this. Um, my answer was always the same, like, oh, I want to work in my business. I want to try something new. I didn't have the heart, even now, I feel like, to even tell people, like, yeah, God told me to quit. And even though I have no backup plan, no real way of how I'm going to do this, I'm listening and I'm quitting. And I did it. It happened. And within, I will say, like 48 hours, so many different things just started coming to me. I was offered a part-time position because one of the things that I prayed about was, okay, I'm willing to do this, but I'm literally making $0 from my business right now. How am I going to survive? And don't have a plan. So I'm like, I need at least a little bit of cushion. I need something to fall back on. And so it became that, okay, I want to work part time or find something that's part time that God is calling me to apply to or wants me to do. I actually didn't even have to apply for the different positions that I ended up getting, but I ended up being offered a couple of different positions through a program that I was an alumni of through my graduate program. And I was offered through the program because of the different ways that the program is set up. I was offered different positions throughout the program, and that was able to provide me with the comfortability to go out and figure out what I'm going to do with my business. And that happened within like 48 hours of me actually resigning. And literally until the moment that I submitted my resignation, I didn't really know that I was going to do it. I was telling people, not people, but like 3 people that I worked with, oh, I think I'm going to resign. I think I'm going to resign. I'm pretty sure I'm going to resign. I might resign. And then it was like, I'm going downstairs to tell my principal that I'm resigning and I'm submitting this paperwork to resign. Um, And yeah, and I can say that it's been a year since my resignation, and I have been able to do so much. I have thankfully not gone hungry. I've been able to do so much. I figured out what direction to take my business. I have worked with some school districts. I've been able to do so many things that I didn't even know that I could do. I didn't even know that I wanted to do. And I've been able to excel, I feel like, in every area. And all of that was from listening and trusting God and trusting that He wasn't going to tell me to quit and leave me looking stupid. Um, but I feel like that's when every single thing started about a year ago. And since then, it's been one experience after another, after another, after another. After that happened, I feel like still then, like, yes, I had this encounter. Yes, I had this experience with God, but I don't think it changed my life or changed my thinking or changed anything that I was doing. Um, really. But a few months ago, towards the end of December, someone that I follow on social media was hosting this end of year kind of fasting experience. I didn't really know what all it entailed, but I was just like, let me do it. I felt really convicted to do it. And so I signed up and I did it. It was the last 15 days of the year. And what an experience it was. I feel like since then, everything about me, my thinking, my life, I feel like I have truly, truly transformed beyond what I could have ever have imagined. And I feel like the way that I have been experiencing God, the way that I've been experiencing just every single thing in my life, everything took a turn since that last 15 days of 2023. And I remember at the very beginning of the fast, I guess it was a fast, I'm not sure what to even call it. The beginning of the experience, I guess. We did like a journal prompt and we had to write down what we were looking for from God in 2023. And I remember one of the things that I wrote down was like, I want to be able to hear God and have God speak to me. I don't even know why I wrote that down, but that's what I wrote down. And I'm going to just say, be careful what you ask for, because I literally feel like ever since then, God has truly, like, he's been speaking to me. Saying stuff. And being that I'm somebody who has never experienced anything like this before, even after being in the church, even after, being baptized and all of those things, I am now realizing that I I didn't know God before. Clearly, we weren't that close, because He was never talking to me for all those 20, 28, 29 years. Um, be careful what you ask for. So after I wrote that, that was one of the things that I wrote down. And I can say in 2024, the Lord has been speaking, honey. He been saying stuff, and I've been trying my best to listen and to obey and to just do what I'm called to do. But that has been such an interesting experience. Like, since those 15 days, I feel like I've been able to clearly know, okay, like, this is God. And when I tell you, the Lord is relentless. Like, when He wants you to do something, when He wants you to hear something, He is relentless. Like, I will literally have a thought, and two people will come up to me with something regarding that thought. I'll open up the Bible app to a random, like, scripture, and it will be about the thought that I had. Every single thing just seems to align. I'll listen to this one sermon, and it will be about my exact thought. And I'm like, okay, God, like, I hear you. I guess it's what you want me to do. And I think in every moment that I'm like, is this really God? He's like, yes, it's really me. Like, He's showing me that it's really Him. It's definitely been an interesting journey. It's been it's been a little overwhelming, honestly. I think coming from, like I said, 6 years of silence, of not doing much, of not engaging with God, of not going to church, to now, oh, God is speaking to me. God is telling me to do this. God is telling me to do that. God is being relentless in the way He's speaking to me. He's sending people to really, like, make me know that, oh, this is God telling you. I had somebody, like, prophesy over a situation that, like, I was going through. This person had no idea about the situation, and it was the same person, the same woman that was running the Forever 15, the last 15 days of 2023. And one of the days, it was a prayer call, and I attended the prayer call. It was at 5 in the morning, and I was like, oh, I don't want to do this. But I got up and I did it. And she was in the middle of speaking about her topic for the day, and she stopped. And she was like, I don't know who this is for, but God is telling me to tell you to forgive, to forgive. And I, like, froze in my track, like, because it was a message that was directly for me. And it was just like, she was saying it with such conviction, and she was elaborating, and I was like, there's no way that this is it for me. And the reason why I knew it was for me is because I had been grappling for months um with different issues with certain people, and have been unwilling to forgive and move on. And for about 2 weeks before that, so like at the beginning of December, my grandmother was telling me, you have to let go, you have to forgive, you have to move on. And I'm like, no, these people wronged me. These people um, are the ones that did wrong. I will not forgive. I will not move on. And she was just like, she just kept telling me, kept telling me. She's like, God is telling me to tell you. I'm like, no. I was like, unless God Himself tells me to forgive, unless God Himself tells me, I will not forgive. I will not just, like, move on and let things go. So that was that. And then the day before this happened, I saw an uncle of mine, and he was saying the same thing: forgive, let go, move on, da 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 da. And again, I said the same thing, unless God Himself tells me to forgive. And so to wake up the next morning and to be on that call, and for her to say, God told me to tell you to forgive, to move on, and this, that, and the third, I was just like, oh, He's serious. I have to forgive. I have to move on. Needless to say, I still had a hard time and I did not forgive and I did not move on in that moment. But God was still gracious and did not strike me down. But before the end of the year, she again prophesied, like, you need to forgive. She sent me this long message like, Claire, God told me to tell you, you cannot go into 2024 without having forgiven and this, that, and the third. This is somebody who had no idea about what was going on, who didn't really know me, honestly. And she was sending me this message. And over the course of the last few months, the message has been cleared. I've been receiving it literally from every angle, from every person, from everything I read, everything I encounter. Um, Forgive, 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 forgive. And I'm still working on it, but I could say I'm so much closer than I was 5 months ago, 6 months ago, to forgiving and to moving on. So yeah, all of it has, God is relentless. That's what I meant by all of this. I said all that to say that God is relentless when he wants you to do something, when he wants you to start moving in a certain way. And there's been so many other little moments, big moments that I'm just like, oh, that's God. And I feel like now I'm ready more or less to start just embracing and seeing what's going to come of this new journey, this new chapter, this renewal of faith. And this is part of my renewal of faith. I just feel like God is calling me to share the gospel. God is calling me to share my story and connect with those who are on a similar path, a similar journey, on a similar renewal of their faith and their dedication. And y'all, I did not want to do this. And I just felt like God was calling me to do it right now. And I'm like, my hair not even done. My nails not done. Like, how am I going to get on YouTube and preach the gospel and I look crazy? I literally cried because I was like, maybe I'm hearing it wrong. Maybe I'm interpreting it to just my liking. But no, but no. So hopefully if you are somebody out there who is, I guess, starting over in a way, because this is what it feels like to me, who is starting over, who is learning God again or learning God for the first time. Because y'all, not gonna lie, it's been years since I had read my Bible. And this week especially, I've been really getting back to it. And I'm like, it's almost a little bit embarrassing how much I was in church and how long I was in church, and to know exactly all the things that I really didn't know, all the things that I didn't do, like read my Bible consistently, all the Bible stories that I could not really identify or retell to someone because I didn't know it fully. So if you're someone who is in a similar situation and who is starting over or starting anew, then hopefully we can help each other. Hopefully we can find community with each other. And hopefully I can inspire you to keep going and to not be ashamed and to not be embarrassed and to just trust God and trust what he is willing to do and about to do in your life. Anyways, hopefully you watched this whole video and you were blessed by it. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you again.